Now this curious mound is located on Morley Mound, just off the A608, turned onto Brickkiln Lane, and it's not far from Derby. It's locally called Toot Hill. Now this curious mound has a bit of a confusing history. As you walk up to Toot Hill, you pass these former clay pits, which once produced material for brickmaking. It now forms a series of shallow pools that provide a refuge for a range of wildlife, and it's a very tranquil walk. The woodland consists mainly of oak and birch, and there are a range of wetland habitats. And in early spring, the reserve is an ideal breeding ground for amphibians like newts, toads and frogs. And the waters contain carp and tench. You may also spot a kingfisher or a heron patiently waiting for a meal. And towards dusk, barn owls or long-eared bats and even pipistrelles may be seen hunting on the wing. Now this very old looking boundary or marker stone is quite interesting. These boundary or marker stones can be found as early as the Viking Age or the early Middle Ages. Were usually used where there's no obvious geographical features. Morley Mound or Toot Hill is a truncated cone with a moat that is still filled with water and almost surrounds it. And the mound is situated on the highest point of Morley Moor. It suggested it was possibly a lookout post. The actual purpose of the mound has intrigued many, and educated guesses have ranged from it being a Roman survey post for the nearby Ricknord Street, which was a Roman road that ran through the North Midlands from Chester to Derby, or that it's acting as a medieval meeting place for the village of Morley, or a fortified dwelling, or other stronghold. But the top is a bit too small to have held any form of substantial structure. But perhaps the most persuasive argument has been that the mound was erected by the Normans, based on its resemblance to a typical Mott. It could have possibly been founded by the De Ferrers family. It could have been reused from a previous Roman structure. The Ferrers family were a noble Anglo-Saxon family that crossed to England with the Norman conquest in 1066. I've mentioned William de Ferrers before. Now, William de Ferrers, he was the 4th Earl of Derby from 1168, and he controlled a large part of Derbyshire, and he resided in Tutbury Castle in Staffordshire, and he was also a Knights Templar. The Norman Mott Castle continued to be built and occupied from the 11th to the 13th centuries, after which they were superseded by other types of castles. Even though the Mott has been disturbed by scrub and trees, the monument survives pretty well, but due to the hedge being broken down on one side, the lower parts of the mound are rapidly crumbling away under the tread of local inhabitants, human and animal. But like I say, the monument survives very well, and it's also thought that well-preserved organic and environmental remains will survive in the water-filled ditch. Now, the actual Mott is approximately 15 metres wide at its base and 4 to 5 metres on top. It's very steep-sided. Now, the 4 or 5 metre wide top may just be enough room for possibly a timber tower or a keep, and previously there may have been attached an outer enclosure or bailey, which would have contained secondary buildings and pens for cattle, etc. But there is no visible trace of such a feature now, as the fields have been ploughed and it would have been ploughed away. And the mound also marks the route of an ancient trackway, the Derbyshire Portway, running from Mam Tor Hill Fort to an inland port on the River Trent, so it could even have Iron Age origins. What, your first walk down here? You were that big? Are you that big? All in all, I found it a very confusing sight, but extremely interesting. And what do you think?